So I wasn't considering on making this video a Halloween special, but since it's coming out around the same time, screw it, this is a Halloween video now. Welcome back to Disney Fighting Evolution, the storyline that used to be me having a hate boner to Disney. Now, not so much, but they still have issues. Anyway, I'm AJ, and this video will discuss the first major arc of the storyline, the Disney Princess Genocide. Even though I called it a massacre in the title of the video, but YouTube doesn't like the G word. The name may sound harsh, but it's not too bad. Okay, well it is bad, but not too bad. It's complicated. So one thing people might be on about is how come all of the fun Shareverse stuff for the Disney and Viacom alignments do not happen in California, but rather in America's backwater armpit, Florida? Well, ironically enough, they did occur in California originally. All of the Disney Astro Souls used to work at Anaheim throughout the 1950s and 1960s. However, due to there being a surplus of employees at a rapid pace, there wasn't enough room for normal souls to go into work and produce content for the company, as well as housing all of the Astro Souls in one place. So when Disney announced that they would be making a new park in Orlando, they made sure to make this park take up more land as well as future expansions, that way the Astro employees could move there having plenty of space to work in. Same goes for Universal, but that's not important right now. However, for Mickey, he typically rotated between the two parks to keep up with all events, one of which was supervising live-action shows and also planning on acquiring other companies and businesses throughout the 1980s and 1990s. And this is where our first key player for the storyline comes into play. So, since it's the season, let's talk about something spooky. Full House. Now, I am aware that Full House is a Warner Brothers show, but it did air on TGIF on ABC, which would later be a Disney-owned channel. Plus, the Tanners did go to Disneyland in a special, so I am willing to say that Full House is both a Disney and Warner alignment property, but Warner primarily. For the Astro Souls, Warner Brothers did shoot in their house, so sitcoms for Astro Souls, or more or less reality shows for them, just with an added laugh track. Though it does depend on what the show is, determining what shows are for normal souls and what shows are for Astro Souls. Anyway, we're going to be focusing on the eldest sister of the family, DJ. She's casually living life as you do when you're being an Astro Soul teenager living in San Francisco. Though on one afternoon in May of 1990, she overheard a phone conversation with Bugs Bunny. She discovered that he was on the phone with Mickey and was planning to sell ABC to Disney sometime soon, stating how Mickey was potentially going to take funds off the channel's shows to support higher budget productions for mainline Disney content. The company was experiencing an all-time high in their renaissance, and therefore haven't seen this much action or money since the death of Walt in 1966. Mickey was not going to take any chances and let this success go to waste. He needed to continue the investment while he still can. To be honest, Bugs wasn't too upset losing ABC since Warner Brothers was also planning to acquire DC Comics, Hanna-Barbera, and a good chunk of MGM in the 90s. But this screwed over DJ's head, believing that one day Disney would drop her family because they weren't profitable enough. She kept this thought to herself, and as the years went by, eventually Full House came to an end in 1995. Just pretend that they got a body double of Michelle in order to make the whole Olsen twin thing make sense. DJ confronted Mickey since he was planning on buying ABC the following year. Before he left, DJ blackmailed him, stating that he is a corrupt rat that uses people for his advantages, and she would swear that she would find a way to peg him down a few steps from the pedestal that he was standing on. And with one clean punch to the face, DJ left. Mickey was shocked. Somebody drove a stake to his heart and exposed him for the rat he was. This incident hardened Mickey into an emotionless businessman, only hiring people that he knows can guarantee make a profit for the company, seeing all his employees as cogs in his machine except for a select few. Though he was pretty open to other deals, such as signing on to a Square Enix crossover series, buying Saban in 2002. As for DJ, once she attended college, she began to live two lives, a normal one where she completed college and started a family, but for the other, she doubled down on her studies, learning about mechanics and communications to understand how a huge company like Disney ticks and some of the pitfalls that come with it. But we'll hold off for DJ for the time being. Flash forward to 2007, and the company was not doing as good as they were in the 90s. Now don't get me wrong, Disney did have some great movies in the 2000s, Atlantis, Treasure Planet, Lilo and Stitch, Emperor's New Groove, Home on the Range, Chicken Little.
Bruh.
Okay, but in all seriousness, Meet the Robinsons is an underrated gem. However, Disney was not the main forefront of their company. Rather, it was Pixar. They pretty much carried all of Disney throughout the decade, as well as being culturally recognizable due to their rivalry with DreamWorks. If you went back to the year 2007 and asked people their top 5 favorite Disney movies from the past decade, 9 times out of 10, they would come up with a list of all Pixar movies. And who would blame you? They made hit after hit after hit after hit after hit, and then Cars, and then hit after hit after hit after hit, and then Cars 2, but then that's when everything went downhill. But even then, Disney was not satisfied by how their original products were performing. It also didn't help that their princess lineup that had given the company a large reason for their success had now been relegated to cheap direct-to-DVD sequels, which were all bad except for Cinderella 3, ironically enough. With Disney seeing the success of that film, they realized that people like meta commentary in their princess movies. And so, the ultimate Disney princess movie was planned. They called it the Disney Princess Movie to end all Disney princess movies. Let me be real here. Enchanted is an unusual film. It is a movie that should not exist or be made by somebody like Disney. It doesn't hide the fact that the movie is a satire of the original Disney princess films up to the 2000s. It's way too honest for a company with a squeaky clean record. Wow. However, Enchanted is to Disney films as Scream is to the slasher genre. Both films make fun of the cliched tropes from the older films they're mocking, while also celebrating why those films are considered classics. In fact, you can argue Enchanted was the blueprint for a lot of Disney movies we have today. Characters in princess movies are more self-aware, and they joke about cliches from the other films.
You got engaged to someone you just met that day?
Yeah.
We pretty much have given up on 2D animation in favor of live-action remakes to these animated tales. Our cute, relatable talking animal sidekicks are silent, grotesque CG abominations, and it's really necessary to make everything look ugly and sterile. But unlike those future films, it works well in Enchanted because it was made intentionally to poke fun at those things. This movie was made with a lot of heart, rather than making Disney a quick buck. Oh, how the times changed. If you want proof that Enchanted is the bridge between original Disney and Neo-Disney, there's a scene where Giselle spits out a fish in front of Jodie Benson's cameo, aka Ariel, and Idina Menzel plays the secondary love interest Nancy, aka Elsa in a couple of years. So with all of this in mind and planned out, you'd think Enchanted would bring Disney back to stand on its own, right? Well, Enchanted was not the movie Disney was hoping for. Now, because the movie is based on original concepts, Disney had to create the Astrosouls for the production. They decided to take samples of their pre-existing characters and use that to create the characters for Enchanted. And this is a huge part of DFE. Clones. Yeah, bet you didn't see that one coming. But yes, the Astral Souls that appear in Enchanted are clones based off of Disney's lineup. Princesses, princes, villains, sidekicks, the works. While the movie did receive a positive reception by audiences, as well as making a profit, unfortunately it did not meet the satisfactory requirements for Disney. It wasn't the spectacular send-off to their princess films that they were hoping for. And with such a monumental failure in their eyes, they decided to wipe out any and all traces of this movie from their library, by killing the clones that Disney created and destroyed any evidence of their existence. Well, except for one. Narissa was pretty much designed to be a clone that featured the best aspects of all Disney villains. Stepmother to the main character? Check. Evil queen ruling a kingdom? Check. Skillful in magic? Check. Old hag disguise? Check. Dragon form? Check. Disney knew that killing her was going to be a problem, but they tried and she survived. Though not by sheer luck, rather it was because of what she was made of. She realized that she was the sole survivor of the Enchanted erasure. Feeling betrayed by her own creators, she swore to harm Disney the same way they harmed her associates and her stepson. And this would lead into the titular Disney princess genocide. Throughout the winter of 2007, Narissa would go throughout Disney and slaughter any of the Astral Soul employees that were the basis of the clones. Everyone. Princesses, princes, villains, sidekicks, no one was safe. Well, except for a select few. Narissa actually spared a couple of employees, such as Mulan and Alice, since neither of their samples were used to clone Giselle. Of course, the biggest bloodbath came from her fight with the villains, going up against people like Jafar and Ursula, though Ursula did survive the fight but went into hiding shortly after. The remaining two targets on her list was Maleficent and Grimhilda, two employees that were strong inspirations for her creation. First was Maleficent, and the two did have a dragon fight. However, Narissa got the upper hand and tossed her body towards Grimhilda. Feeling shame and guilt if she did die by the hands of a low-class clone, Grimhilda decided to stab herself in the heart. Even with the easy resolution, Narissa was not satisfied with the outcome. she decided to head to Mickey's house and began to torment him, demanding why her revenge quest wasn't over. Mickey revealed that there was a non-Disney princess employee that was also sampled for her. So someone, when creating Nerissa, thought it would be a good idea to sample the coding of the Digimon, Lilithmon, or Laylamon and placed it in her. And that's why she was able to survive the assassination, thanks to her digital data being intact. With this new information, she made her way to the ABC family building and tried to kill the Digimon that could achieve that form, that being Gatomon. This led into the story arc in Fox Kids Special, where Gatomon finds out about the Digi-Crystal infused in her and battles Nerissa in her Laylamon form. However, she spares her life, realizing that both of them were victims of almost dying from their creators. Nerissa was shocked by this random act of mercy, and Gatomon basically told her to keep a low profile from the company. And so Nerissa decided to claim a permanent residence at the Hollywood Towers and Hollywood Studios. And that was the end of the Disney Princess Genocide. Mickey was completely trashed from this incident. Not only were a good chunk of his employees dead, but they decided not to be revived for how they lost faith in their company for not protecting them. He forced his current staff to lock away Enchanted from the public mind, hoping that no one would think about this film existing, and his distaste from Saban/former Fox Kids members would only grow from this. As for our two main protagonists, before the fight, Maleficent decided to cast Re-Raise to both her and Grimhilda, so if they died, they would come back. Yeah, she casted the Final Fantasy spell Re-Raise. However, when they came back too, they realized that they were the only two survivors of the Endeavor. They saw Mickey as a lost cause. Now it was up for them to run the company. But how? They had no supplies, no support, nothing. But it was going to happen one way or another. Both Maleficent and Grimhilda decided to call this sect of the company Neo-Disney. And that's where I'm leaving it here. Now we have our initial conflict. Disney created a monster and attacked themselves. Well-respected employees, seeing how incompetent the company is beginning a coup to properly take control. It may not be a lot at first, but every drastic change has its baby steps. If you like this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribe to see where the storyline goes from here. With that, I'm AJ, and I'll see you all in the next one.